Welcome back, everybody. It's episode number 125 of Hyperspace Hype. How?
Wow. How did we get this far? How is it that we got here?
They keep making shows, we keep making nothing.
Content. Yeah, this is another finale to another Star Wars show, and you know what, Nathan? This was fantastic.
I'll say. You're gonna be like, I'm not happy, Bob, and
I'm not happy.
I can see one element of why you might not be happy.
I don't know.
Or you, Evan, you do not like abrupt endings.
I don't. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I was satisfied. If I cared, I don't want to say I didn't care about the show. I do care about the show. I love it. But like, if I was
Mando season 4,
if I was incredibly invested, I'd be like, "Damn, that was kind of abrupt." But I was like, "Oh, okay, it was weird." But I guess I'm just what's it called? I'm used to it. I've grown complacent to Disney Plus, like really having weird endings to their shows. The episode 5 of Acolyte still bugged me. I'm like, why did that happen? Or 4. So yeah, this was a great finale. I'll just say it up top. This for me, yeah, I put it right alongside Acolyte and Andor. I know a lot of people put it above Acolyte. It couldn't be me, but I really like this show. It's unique. It's different. And I think more so than Acolyte, I will give it this, more so than Acolyte, this is the kind of TV show that feels, I don't know, because Acolyte was very unique. I don't argue that it wasn't, but it was unique in the sense of like what they did in the concept of Jedi, Sith, light and dark, which is what Star Wars is all about. We haven't really gotten a show that is from the perspective of just kids. And that's why Skeleton Crew is a bit more unique than the Acolyte. And having said that, I think the TV show elements of Skeleton Crew were really a bit more, I don't know. Again, for me, it wasn't as impactful as the Acolyte in terms of emotional depth. But in terms of television, each episode packed a good punch and delivered like on a television basis. If people can understand what I'm saying here, it's just like, for me, it wasn't like a cut up movie. And I didn't feel that way about the Acolyte, but certain episodes of the Acolyte, I'm like, you could just squeeze them together. This episode or this series, I didn't feel like, besides I guess like the premiere, which they aired back to back anyways. I felt like each episode, offered a worthwhile basis in terms of like character development and the mystery elements, and it was very juicy, interesting. Not all the episodes were great; it didn't blow me away. But as a complete whole, it really comes together. And I think this finale really packed a great emotional punch. And, you know, people always talk about apes on horses with the Apes trilogy. We got kids on bikes. That never goes wrong. And I mean, like E.T., Stranger Things, you know, all your other Amblin-esque shows and movies, it's like kids on bikes. You can never feel more like jubilant when you see that. It just feels you with joy, and I loved seeing that in this episode.
I was watching the scene where they had to like give the bikes all they got to go across the chasm, and I was like, "Give me a moonshot," and then I remembered the fucking barrier.
Yeah,
the half a moon.
Yeah,
but if there was no barrier, I bet I would have got it.
You would have got your moonshot. So yeah, man, I thought this was a great finale. Much more action. I guess not more than I was expecting. I knew there was going to be action, but a lot more action than I was expecting.
It's the finale, Evan. That's
exactly
where it all.
That's where it all comes together. But yeah, in terms of finale, I think this is I guess it's easy to say it's my third favorite finale. It might be up there with. Andor had a great finale. Acolyte for me is still my favorite finale. But man, this was just so good. Like, because I think all the character notes that we've been discussing week to week really came to a head here in this finale in a really fun way. Where each of the kids has something important to do that only they could do, alongside Jod, who is continuing to be one of the coolest and most interesting characters of the Disney era. Just in Star Wars in general. I hate saying the Disney era. Star Wars in general. People say Disney era, it's just like, oh, you mean besides these 6 other movies? But yeah, Jod is, it came together really well here in the finale. And Nathan, we didn't get a lot of answers in terms of the and past. We made a lot of theories, theory time, as we had a lot of our podcasts talk about But you know what? I don't really care. I don't really care. I am very satisfied with what we got here in terms of character. And it's always fun. That's why we have a podcast. It's always fun to discuss theories about what happened with that in the past. Who is a supervisor? And we got some answers, some not. And I'm satisfied nonetheless. What do you think of this finale?
Yeah, I thought it was a blast. As a big kid adventure, it hit all the boxes and gave all of the best vibes of everybody coming together in their best elements. All the things learned along the way. Neil remembering where the big turret was on the other planet with his friend that he rode, and different stuff like that. And KB using her, she's clearly the most qualified to fly the ship and all that stuff. And I think she had the most emotional weight brought throughout the whole season.
For sure.
I thought it was a good time. And Jod, they committed to him being the self-centered villain. However, there was a little crumb of what made you this way.
Exactly. We got a little crumb of and I want to talk about that. I want to parse through that with certain instances in this finale where Jod, you had your chances to do something even more nefarious, but you pulled back. He didn't go all the way, and I want to discuss that. But yeah, also in terms of a visual, you remind me of Jod and certain things, but on a visual level, I really loved a lot of the things in this finale. Jod walking and seeing the burning ship coming down was a glorious shot. This show in general had some really astounding visuals that I loved watching all the way through. But yeah, so yeah, on a visual level, this show is pretty S tier. Really good, great use of the volume. Great use of all the visual elements. ILM always doing a great job. So yeah. Excellent finale to a great show. So okay, let's break this down, man. Let's break this down.
They all died.
They all died. The supervisor burned them to a crisp.
Let that be a lesson for all you dreamers. 1984, if you didn't know, was the adaptation they were going for.
Wow.
There's hints there with the supervisor, though.
Yeah, he's basically Big Brother.
But not as harsh.
Very much not as harsh. But yeah, so last time we saw the kids, we saw Jod bringing up a lightsaber to the families after their little heartwarming reunion, and then we're like, oh, credits. What's going to happen in the finale? Not much. He kind of waves it around and is like, oh yeah, you guys are going back home. And this is one of the first instances, Nathan, where I'm just like, these are the only people that know who you really are. If I'm on Survivor, I always got to take it back to reality TV, guys. If somebody catches who I really am, my nefarious ways, if people know that I can't be trusted, they got to go. They got to go. And Jod technically does do that by saying hey, put these people under lock and key, bring them back home. I'm not going to harm them. But the act of not harming them is ultimately his downfall for being pragmatic. And there's other instances where he just doesn't harm them at all. We'll get to it, but this is one of the first instances where I put a note here, why not take them out if you're as much of a pirate, right, as you seem? Pirates are, they have codes and stuff like that. They have these rules we talked about, pirate rules. Doesn't really matter. So yeah, I think I'm not saying within Jod there's a heart of gold. We kind of discussed that's not the case. But there is, like Nathan said, there is a crumb of something within him, and it's keeping these kids alive.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's a number of moments John, if you just sliced, you'd be all right.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Especially after he took out the supervisor, it's okay, well,
right
at this point,
right? That's what I'm thinking too. I'm okay, Jod, go to work, but this isn't. No, I'm not proposing he goes full Anakin Skywalker in Order 66. I'm not going that far. I'm just saying.
It does.
Stay with the chest, Jod.
It does give an interesting retrospect of thinking back to the previous episode when he was threatening the kids' lives and having them sit in the corner. Now it kind of seems he definitely has the grievances he's saying, but looking back, it's probably like, well, he's not going to slice any of them.
Yeah. Also, up top, I did theorize, like, could John be killed off in this finale? He doesn't. No, he's not in any mortal danger.
We don't know what happens to him.
Yeah, it's true. Like in episode 1, season 2 could start, and he could be like in prison, fighting for his life.
The tower is about to fall. He's like,
yeah. You never know. But yeah, so everybody goes back to their homes except Fern and Farda. He needs Farda to accompany him to the supervisor because he needs what does he need? Oh yeah, he needs to lower down the shields basically to allow his pirate crew to get home or to get to the base, which is what I was thinking about. I'm like, that's gonna be one of his major obstacles in this finale. He's there, the rest of his crew is not there. He thinks he's so loyal to the crew that supposedly loves him. So how are they going to get down here? And that's kind of like what the early issue is in this first half of the episode here, is getting his crew to the planet itself. Yeah. So they get to the supervisor, but we cut back to Wim and Wendell, and they're eating some microwave food, seemingly microwaved. It just looked burnt as hell. I'll put that in my notes. It looked burnt as hell.
I thought it looked burnt, but I think that's just how it's supposed to look.
Yeah, I guess it's black. Is that supposed to be just like?
I think that was the base color originally, because it was like, there's no way.
Yeah, ain't no way.
It's
and they're just
funny that like he's microwaving it, right? And then they cut to the next round. It's like, really good to have a home cooked meal.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. I guess it was good. Home cooked meal.
I do love Chef Boyardee.
Yeah, right. You get your TV dinner. It's like, I love a good home cooked meal. It's like, okay.
I cooked.
Yeah.
Home.
I mean, I can't. No. Whenever I went to my dad's house when I was young, I used to eat a lot of like TV dinners. Like,
Oh yeah.
What was the what was it called? A Kids Cuisine. You remember that shit, man?
Cuisine. Yeah, I tried it recently. It's terrible.
You didn't try it? Why?
I didn't have a whole. I'm like making some for my nephews, and
got it.
Just okay. Like, what is this? Fuck.
Yeah, I remember because like they gave you a little bit of mac and cheese, some fruit and veggies, and, like some meatloaf bullshit.
The layout I commonly see be like the main entree of like 4 nuggets. It's like a thing of corn. The kids ain't gonna eat it. It's a thing of mac and cheese, and then there's like a fucking overcooked brownie. That they give you the hardest fucking sprinkles for.
Yeah, I used to love that brownie.
Like bone.
I used to love the brownie. I'm like, but. Like for the chicken nugget one, like you said, they give you like 4 bullshit ass chicken nuggets, but I hate soggy nuggets. And when you put it in the TV, when you put the TV dinner in the microwave, it automatically makes it soggy and shit. I'm just like, this is awful.
There's a not much better, but a better version from Banquet that is just like fucking nuggets, fries, brownie, and that was like my go-to shit.
Yeah, Banquet was like a little like $1 or $2 more at Kroger or whatever. But it would be worth it. It would be
just get the fucking freezer bag of nuggets and
exactly, yeah.
Just on your way.
Put that shit in the
even today, I say.
Yeah, I haven't had chicken nuggets in general in a long time. The only time I get chicken nuggets is when I go to Chick-fil-A because they have like the best nuggets ever. Either way, Wim and Wendell did not have nuggets, but I loved this conversation between Wim and Wendell. We talked about Wim and his growth throughout the season. I think it really comes to a head here. This is one of the earlier moments in this episode where we see one of the kids, using what they've learned, growing beyond what they've learned as well. Wendell automatically goes into parent mode, being like, well, we're home, get ready for your assessment. And Wim crashes out. No, I'm kidding. Wim, I liked it because he didn't say like, F you, Dad, I'm not taking the assessment. I'm not doing all this. Like, he does lash out a little bit, but he calms down, he apologizes, and just, reaffirms how he doesn't want to take the assessment, and we have to worry about saving our friends. He really prioritizes saving his friends in this finale. And I think this is a big growth point for Wim, not only being able to talk to his dad about the problems he's currently having, in the early part of the season, and I guess for both of them too. Wendell takes time to listen as well, which is great. He might disagree, but at least he was listening in this scene. In earlier scenes, in episode 1 or 2, he wasn't really paying attention to Wim. He would cut him off when he got in trouble at the principal's office. They didn't really have any constructive conversations. In this episode, in this TV dinner scene, they're finally having some constructive conversations. I really thought it was heartwarming, great to see, and it's great just seeing Wim prioritize and say like, this experience wasn't really for nothing. His friends helped him to recollect in the penultimate episode when he was upset to be coming home. Yeah. It's like he learned to prioritize the adventure, not just for adventure's sake, but to realize the adventure is second to actually like saving your friends, being with your friends, doing everything for your friends, friendship, basically. That was the real point of this adventure, not just the adventure for freedom's sake. Yeah. And all that to say, like, that's all coming to a head here in this conversation, which I thought was really nice. It was really solid back and forth. I really liked it.
Totally.
Yeah, which is a great scene. I liked Wendell's dad a lot in this finale. He kind of bugged me a lot of times in this season, just doing like, wow, what's going on here? It's like, but I like the scene early in the season when he's like fumbling with the robot and trying to get the codes, and he's like getting in trouble. He's a very naive character. And then in this finale, he had some great one-liners that I wish I wrote down, but I don't.
He was very hyped making the jump on the bike.
Yeah. I was like, this guy rocks. So
you kids are cool.
So he's trying, guys. He's trying. Yeah. I really like that scene. But then we get to Supervisor. We cut to Fern, and immediately, Nathan, we get our answer. It indeed was just a droid, which I think a lot of people have theorized because droids were omnipresent at Atten. Yeah. They go up there, and it's Jeff Goldblum. No, I'm kidding. It's just the droid.
A sentimental man. It is interesting, but then it also poses the question: who made this droid?
Great question.
All the way to the top, and even further.
Yeah, this goes all the way to the top.
Is the Trade Federation behind?
Exactly.
Is the one who moves money behind the money?
Yeah, it's like, so let's break this down. For me, this was shocking, but not shocking. It is just, it's shocking because we just finally got the answer. But yeah, it was a droid. It didn't move me. But interestingly enough, Farah already knew as well. And maybe seemingly all the adults knew as well. They're just used to it. And she talks about it like not in like this godly manner, but in the reverent manner. Like, we must respect the supervisor. We must be, kind to the supervisor. She's not scared of it or anything. She's just, again, reverent to it. And last week in the penultimate episode during the whole hologram scene, one of the parents, I think it was Wendell, talked about like, hey, we're sorry you didn't we couldn't explain this to you. You would have learned this when you graduated, etc. Maybe this is one of those things when they graduate, they learn about the implications of the supervisor, that it's a droid and that Atten must be kept secret. I guess those two things are just so important. And once you graduate, you'll be able to understand that importance.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was cool. I was like, oh, Farr already knew this. Like, nobody was surprised. I was like, oh, kind of not a letdown reveal, but just like an interesting reveal. Like, oh, it's like nothing's like, oh my gosh. No zoom in, shock face, nothing like that. It was more so you got that from Fern, but not Farah. So that was pretty cool. But it does, like you mentioned, like who built the robot? Because in episode 4, we got all those statues of somebody who'd gotten torn down on that war-ridden planet. Sure. Which was another case of like Atten similarity. Could a human, obviously somebody had to create the robot. Obviously droids can create other droids, and that could be the case as well. But we know Atten's been hidden for a long time now, or maybe not, because they said the last message they got later on. I'll fast forward it, but like the supervisor's like, the last message we got was that the Jedi were traitors, and that's like 30 years ago, not very long.
Yeah, that was interesting.
So I'm like, so how long?
At the very least, the supervisor is tapped into current events.
Is 30 years ago current events?
I think there's been a reference, and I mean, presumably, if it's that recent, you can get other news. That was a funny thing, though.
Oh yeah.
Well, the scene where Jod was like, "Oh, it's Jedi." But the Jedi are traitors, and I was watching. I was like, "Get fucked!"
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that was great. Oh yeah, real quick, how was your commentary? What were the areas where you were like really enthusiastic or cheering?
Well, I wasn't muted, so it's a good start. Uh,
Hmm.
I think I had big moments with mainly when stuff started like running and gunning toward the middle. I mean, I was intrigued by the reveal of the supervisor. I was really enthralled by just how seedy Jod was being and how manipulative he
Hmm.
was being of like working his way in. I was like, fuck this. Like they're not holding back on the commit, like they're committing to it, and I like it. Uh, Otherwise, yeah, the big moments when like everybody's like around doing stuff, a big championing of Neil and everybody around. I was having a blast as much as the kids probably were when they were getting the jump on things.
Same here, man. And I said I was moving forward faster, but it is in the scene when John gets caught in the lie. So I wasn't moving forward a lot.
Mm.
So yeah, he gets caught in that lie, and it was just very interesting. If I'm John, I'm like, hey, what about Luke Skywalker? Are you guys not reading the news? Like, come on! Like, Luke's a hero. I'm like,
Yeah,
you guys. I'm like, Google Luke Skywalker supervisor. I'm not. I'm
I,
a Jedi. I'm telling the truth.
I I don't know. I guess legally speaking, they're pulling from the status of the Republic at the time,
Yeah.
which is like, motherfucker, you don't know that they're the Empire now.
Yeah. Um, by the way, so like we see a lot of credits, and because the supervisor mentioned like, oh, the Republic. Well, last time we had a Republic emissary or news or whatever, or traders, a lot of people online were thinking like, oh, because the supervisor is mentioning the Republic of just the Galactic Republic,
Mm-hmm.
how long was that actually hidden? But I still think they were hidden for a long time because of everything we've come to know throughout the
Yeah.
series. It was still saying like it became a myth. It was like hundreds of years ago. So I still think it was just they were hidden hundreds of years old Republic wise, and then it was the Galactic Republic. It was just the news thing they heard.
I would imagine that the supervisor tower, which is the most powerful point on the planet, probably
Yes.
has some sort of way of being able to receive not send out, but receive info on some current events that you know make its way, word making around toward
Yeah.
at. Uh, so
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, that was pretty fun. So yeah, Job's like, oh shit, and I was like, wait, what's he like? Can he deflect a lot of like stun bolts there? Because I think they said like stun him, not like
yeah. I don't think we've seen this before. I don't think we've ever seen a saber slice through a stun beam.
We've seen it in Star Wars. I mean,
Yeah,
Clone Wars and Rebels a lot. But like,
I guess my live
um,
action.
but yeah, live action. I haven't. I don't know. I'm trying
Usually,
to think.
people just get hit down immediately.
Exactly. Just like boom. They're like maybe if I rewatched the Order 66, you know, I
Yeah,
don't
that was a
know.
whole Tales of the Jedi Ahsoka episode.
Oh yeah, true, exactly. Uh, I want to forget that this year was the other Jedi.
A new tale.
Were those back to back tales, or that every other year?
Either every year or every other, because it was just last year we had
Tales of the
yeah,
Empire.
Empire, right?
That was 2024.
I think it alternates because we're getting visions this year,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
it's
probably
crazy. We go from Vision to Tales. I mean, not none of Tales sucks or anything, but it's like Visions is so S tier.
there's there's so much there's so much variety, right?
Yeah. Um, but
Versus
yeah,
the arc structure that could be one episode.
yeah, the whole yeah. We talked about Tales of the Empire. Go watch our Tales of the Empire review episodes. Um, I had fun with those. But yeah, I mean, Celebration for sure can reveal whatever the fuck is happening next with Disney Plus Star Wars stuff. I got a little
Tales
bit of
of the Rebellion.
I got a little bit of rumors to talk about after we get out of this review segment
Okay.
to discuss. But yeah, man, he shows lightsaber right through the eye, and this was like, oh, wow, okay, and it worked. I was like, okay, that's weird, John. Like, I figured the robot should still just be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But everything turns off. I'm like, wait, what? That was an easy off switch. What the fuck?
He
This is
used the
crazy.
video game logic right there, the big red spot.
Yeah, just fuck it. Like, but that's why I fucking love Star Wars. Like, when you need a door to open, just shoot it. When you need a door to close, just shoot it. It's like it doesn't really matter. Star Wars logic is just blow something up and it'll either work or it'll kill itself off or whatever. It was very funny. Yeah, this was great. So yeah, the supervisor's just like I would have loved if it was just like, what are you doing or nothing, but it's just like
that tickles.
That would have broke my immersion. I would have died.
Stephen Fry though as the supervisor.
Oh, what's he from? Stephen, that sounds so familiar.
I know that he does all the audiobook readings for the Harry Potter series.
Oh, cool! Good for him.
I think he does a big British actor. He's a cool guy. But
yeah, speaking of that, Keanu Reeves was in the Severance season 2 premiere. I did not know it was Keanu Reeves until this morning. He was a voice.
That's cool.
I was like, that was Keanu Reeves, but then I heard, I'm like, how did I not know that was Keanu Reeves? But yeah, it was fun. Everybody go watch Severance. What a fantastic show. It's going to probably dominate the Emmys this year.
You not getting it is funny because I also picture someone listening to like what Christopher Walken. It's like, oh, how did I not catch it? How did you not catch it?
Exactly. Somebody like they said like Severance is going to dominate the Emmys this year. I think it really is. I think Severance, and already after one episode, I think it's going to be Severance versus Last of Us. Mainly because like when it comes to Emmys, it's usually like carryover shows from like the fall of 2023 or 2024. But this fall didn't really have that many big shows. It's going to be interesting. As a huge awards person like I am,
I got by the way, I told you earlier I was watching a Pop Culture Jeopardy. I got a Acolyte mention.
No way!
Not the question was not about the Acolyte solely, but it was mentioned in it.
How so?
It was I think the category was film series, and it said this actor before primarily leading the Acolyte was Rue in the 2012
Amanda Stenberg.
Yeah,
goated. I miss her so much. Where is she at, man?
Instagram.
Oh yeah, follow her Instagram. Beautiful.
Her group chat. Those group chats that where it's like only they can.
Yeah, man. After this, wait, what is that?
On Instagram they have those like a one-way group chats that like where the creator can just like send stuff. She just sends memes.
Man, she's such a great. I mean, I would love her to just still go to Star Wars Tokyo or whatever, Star Wars Celebration. That'd be great.
So happen.
Yeah. But yeah, we get this big ship entrance as the ship, I forget what it's called, but like the big pirate ship comes down to the plane, and now that the supervisor is dead, the power is gone, and what a phenomenal entrance. Just like the ship crashing through the clouds, entering the atmosphere. People are overlooking this big ship. It reminded me of like a weird reference, but like Peter Pan 2, when Captain
Hook's
Hook arrives to London. It's such a weird image. You don't picture a pirate ship in London. You don't really picture this huge ship in the suburbs. It was really cool.
Your brain is hilarious. Peter Pan 2, and Lion King 2.
I respect all the straight-to-DVD Disney movies that Disney did not respect.
By the way, I was just off topic. I started like going down a slight rabbit hole about Disney's The Lion Guard series.
Oh. And
there's so much fucking like lore in it.
Really? In Lion Guard?
Yeah, there's like the fucking, because I think it's Simba's son is the lead. But also Kiara and Kovu are in it. And I think it's the same voice actor for Kovu, which is crazy.
No way!
They talk to Mufasa sometimes, and I think his first appearance was actually James Earl Jones. Scar returns as like a fucking smoke entity speaking. It's crazy. There's just like so much. There's fucking like 5 seasons of it.
Wait, so Simba having a son wasn't against canon from Mufasa? It was just going along with what Lion Guard did, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess maybe.
So I guess they can still do Lion King 2 or whatever. They can
I
do a
guess so.
fun. Yeah.
Maybe. It was also nice that they were also saying like Simba was he did address like Kiara and Kovu will be the rulers next. I was like, that's cool.
Do I gotta watch Lion Guard Cassie? What happens to Kiara and
I
Kobe?
don't know. I think you just go to their YouTube channel, watch like the most viewed clips.
Yeah, I love Kiara and Kobe. I gotta see what happens.
I was bummed because YouTube has that setting where like if the video's set for kids, there's no comments because I want to see what fans think.
Yeah. It is bumming when I see some like fun videos. I'm like, ooh, what do people think? And it's like comments are turned off. I'm like, cool. The only time I like to read comments.
They did a fucking. I'm sorry. One last thing. Like they did a fucking shot where like there was a sinkhole opened, and Simba was getting Nala and Kiara out of the way, and then he started to slip in, and he like fucking grabs onto the cliffside just like Mufasa did, and then fell in the same way. I was like, oh shit. He was okay.
How many times did they do that in the series? I wonder, like 10,000 times.
I don't think that much, but it is funny.
They love Lion King. Laura loves that shot. Just use it whenever they want to. That's interesting. Yeah, I gotta see what happens to my people, Kiara and Kobe. Did they get busy yet? Do they have a daughter or son yet? Or are they too young?
I don't think yet.
Oh, that's interesting. But yeah, because I wondered after Mufasa, I was like, did Kiara have a little brother? What? But then, okay, cool.
I think Kovu specifically recapped the events of Simba's Pride, and I was like, oh shit, canon.
Yeah, Simba was a dick to me, but yeah, it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, no, he literally said that. He was like, he accepted me.
So yeah, the pirate ship coming down again. This is one of the more awesome things to see in this finale. It was just such
Very
a cool visual.
I was very unexpected that they would just bombarded the surface. Why,
Nathan? I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, okay, I get it. You're pirates, but people just watching. Boom! I'm just like, oh shit! I'm like, it went to 1,000 out of nowhere. I was like, oh shit! Okay.
Even Thrawn gave Ezra a chance.
Yeah, he didn't start blowing up. He gave them a warning. Then he started blowing shit up. Yeah, these pirates are just like, yeah, they can die, and then they get arrested. I'm like, okay, what are you arresting people? Are you killing people?
Does the resistance have the death penalty?
Yeah, right. That's a great question. Probably not. Yeah.
Are they still the rebellion right now?
No, this is exactly Mando season 3 timeline. So
resistance.
Yeah, or no. This is New Republic still.
No, the transitioning.
Yeah, it's transitioning New Republic. Yeah. Speaking of transition, the next Star Wars novel comes out in March called Mask of Shadow or something like that. It's a political novel written by Alexander Freed about it's part of a trilogy of books that's going to recap or discuss the political nature between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Tried and true era, obviously, yeah, but it's like from the perspective of like Mon Mothma and like the senators, and it looks really, really cool. So if you like your politics Star Wars, this is the book for you.
Spoiler: Mon Mothma's not having a good time.
Yeah, not really, not great. So yeah, and this is before Andor, I think, obviously. So yeah, we see Neo and KB grab Wim to go all on their bikes to save the day. I like this whole sequence. You know, Wim's like, the robots are down. Okay, Dad, this is the real shit. John is a mother effing liar. No. But yeah, John is not telling you the truth. And he's like, well, the droids can save the day. He pushes the droids are gone, Dad. It's like, what are you doing here? Like, it's up to us. I like that. It's like, oh, wait, it is up to us. Like, the kids are the only one on the entire planet who can save the day, which is so cool. And the whole bike sequence is great. And then Lando looks over at the guy at the bike. I'm like, this is peak, like, classic movie era. Just like, it's like, you just, you know, I would have loved to see him actually push the guy off. That'd been funnier. But I like the implication. Yeah. He just pays him like 20 credits because Wim's like Wendell's super rich. That'd been funny.
He does a slow wind up.
Yeah. Boom! But this was cool. You know, Wim, KB, Neil, all riding their bikes. The plan is to go to their ship. They know that they have to communicate with Kim, who was the owl lady that helped them out. So they needed to get to their ship, go to the atmosphere, because they know it's open now, and then communicate with the New Republic.
Right, but the clamps are still locked onto their ship, and they can only escape by turning the power back on in the tower.
In the tower, and that's where all shit gets crazy. So yeah, I love this whole writing sequence. It was so thrilling to watch, where they're bobbing and weaving. The kids know the land, which is always so much fun to see when you see like invaders invade something. Like the people being invaded, they know the land. And in this case, it's definitely true. They're like going through the woods. We get that jump that we talked about. That was so cool to see. Wendell going crazy. But even when they're in the city, it's like you're just dodging and getting crazy. It was really cool. Neil gets split up at this point. He gets blown up, and he unfortunately dies. We lose Neil here.
I was shocked at him.
No kidding. Yeah,
I was appalled. I wrote my congressman to change it.
A full letter.
Yeah, how I was like, dearest, darling.
So yeah, this was just an excellent sequence. Oh, I put in my notes here that how the night was very clear to see too. You know, a lot of TV these days, it's very hard to see night. I love Willow, the TV series, but whenever they went like underground or had some nighttime sequences, I'm like, I can't see what's happening.
I used to not buy into like, oh, everything's dark nowadays, guys. Really, and then I'm watching so many things with like the lights on in my house. And I'm like, fuck. Maybe I'll turn the lights off. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, like I always like just watch a lot of my TV at night now because of that. Like I started watching Silo right when I got home from work, and it was like Silo's a very dark show. They're in a fucking silo, and it was glare out the ass. I've had this apartment for like 3 years now, but it's like I keep saying I'm gonna get black curtains. I'm gonna get black curtains, and I never did because I'm lazy as hell. But I would really like some black curtains because it was hard to see my show. Anyways, Neil gets trapped in the school, but I talked about how Wim gets a hero moment, and he gets another one later in the episode. Neil gets his hero moment here. We talked about it already, but he says, "Go on without me." They KB and them go on ahead, and he has to go on the turbo laser, which we see later in the episode. And again, I just want to reiterate how cool it is that all the characters are using what they've learned from their experiences, and it's coming here in the finale in full force. And it was just really fun to see. It's like, oh, that's Wim, being his heroic self. That's Neil being his heroic self in unique ways. And KB has her moment with the ship, and it's just so cool, so cool. And then KB manages, or it happens later on, but KB manages to do what she's good at and get on the ship to hyperspace, or not hyperspace, but outer space, and call Kim, because Kim was the one that called KB, or like, hey, KB, don't trust Jod. So KB and Kim had that relationship, and KB is able to like use the control of the ship and work with 33 because of her mechanical stuff. So that was really cool.
Very cool.
But as you mentioned, we all need to go back to the tower, because of the clamps and everything. And Nathan, I really liked what we got here with Fern and Farah. Kelly Condon. We keep talking about how great she was in Banshees of Inisherin. She was great there. And I like her here as well. She finally got to cook in this finale, mainly going off of like her and Fern and the arguments back and forth. Ever since Jod tore down the supervisor, he had them just like, hey, just sit back there in the corner. And while they're in the corner, Fern and Farah just arguing back and forth. And Fern says a great line, because Farah's like, it's too dangerous. We can't make a move. And Fern's like, we got to whisper so we can think of some stuff. Like, Farah's just really in fear mode, which is understandable. Her daughter's been gone for weeks now, however long. And she finally has her back, and she's scared. So it's like, if we, if we allow the ship to escape, or if we do, if we bring the atmosphere down, it's like, what's going to happen? There's a lot of fear for her daughter, for everybody on the planet. Because with the supervisor down, Farah is basically like the head of the planet, basically, at least from what we know. Basically, if from the series, from the cast, she has the most authority. So that's why they're giving her this arc of like, this big decision is up to you now, because you're not just protecting your family, you're trying to protect the entire planet. And let me see what Fern says.
She had a wonderful line about
Yeah, thank you.
you know, everywhere they went in the galaxy there was like a lot of bad people, but everywhere they went there were good people everywhere they went. And
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, God damn it, if that isn't part of the central theme of Star Wars.
Right, man. It was such a beautiful line, because like you hear that line and you immediately recollect about all the people that came across in this show alone. On the war-torn planet, it was a lot of craziness, but there was that one girl who really befriended and kissed Neil. And then you met Kim in episode like 3 or something. She really ended up helping them in this finale.
The one bouncer lady was concerned.
The one bouncer lady in the port craziness, like she helped him out. And then even the mud monster place, Catholips, I think Catholips. I have it in my notes. He helped them in the mud pits of a sauna planet, and he was like some monster they thought was going to be monstrous, but no, he was like, "Hey, the place is back there. Go enter it." So it was really nice, you know. Everywhere across the way, there was good people for these scared children just trying to get home. So it was a very sweet message. And this is the good thing about Fern as well, right? This is her moment. She gets to shine, where, you know, she started off just like rebelling. She's wearing her outfits backwards. She's riding the streets with no care in the world. But now she has a lot of care for her friends. And she understands as a leader of her squad, basically, that there was a lot of good people. And she really did like foster some good connections along the way. And she really wants to save those connections by like pleading to her mom to do the right thing. So it was just a great, great, great moment. So this is where we get interesting. So Wim, as they're talking, Wim makes his way up, and we get some very cheesy but funny dialogue here. Wim's like, you know, don't shoot me, please. They're like this crystal. What do you say?
Oh, the founders.
Yeah. Crystal, the founders. And everybody else is just like, what the hell? But I love how Fern like immediately knows it's a lie, but he locks in. And this is Wim using what he does best, his best trait, his imagination, which is exactly what, you know, this is what John was talking about in like episode 6 or something like that, where he's just like, you know, you got to sever your connections, use your imagination, Wim. And Wim's using his imagination against John this time, which is pretty ironic.
I'll work on that story, Wim.
You got to work in that story.
Are you implying I'm going to survive this?
Yeah. Basically, and this is interesting, right, Nathan? Wim comes up here. John has the ability again to just like slice dice. Like, you know, I'm tired of this shit. He does have the force. It's not a lot. He has the force. We don't know how much he's able to like force push. Probably not a lot. But like he's able to do certain things, like to hold like Wim and Fern at bay with like his force. They're trying to use a lightsaber. Like he's able to do certain things when he's locked in, but is he really locked in here? It was just so fascinating to see John's movements in this whole circumstance. It was really cool.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So yeah, Wim's using his imagination. John doesn't fall for it, but he entertains it. And it's kind of too late by this point because Wendell's able to squeeze on through. And what happens next here, right? So he threatens them. So yeah, he catches Wendell, who again Wendell's trying to like put the atmosphere down, right? Is that his plan?
He put the power back on.
Oh yeah. So
and
Wendell's doing the clamps part, right?
I think the clamp part that was the main like thing for everybody after. But he got the power back on, and then he would take a shot and missed.
Got it. Okay.
And then, you know, everyone's trying to make a break for something, you know, trying to grab a gun or whatever. People are getting knocked around. The lightsaber gets knocked out of the hand.
Yeah, Wendell punches Jod, right?
Yeah, he decks him. He's like, hey, look at him. Let him go.
Let him go. Give him the good old 1-2. Come on, Wendell. But then the standstill eventually happens here where Wendell is pushed against the corner. Jod puts a lightsaber to his like throat, basically, and Wim is the one at the the lever. And it was just an interesting thing. He was like, "I will kill your father," and it's like, "Will you though, John?"
I think he killed him, just not the
Yeah,
kids. I think he
not the
killed the
kids.
adults.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
I think that happened before he punches the Nooks. I think his punch knocks the saber out of his.
Got it. Oh yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah. But yeah, so then Oh, and we get the hero moment. Yeah. We get the hero moment between Wim, who actually ignites the lightsaber, wants to get control.
After he checked which side he was holding.
Yeah, I'm like, be careful, Wim. He's like, I got you now. Oh no!
Just hold it out sideways and pray.
But Fern's face, like Wim holds the lightsaber, is like threatening Jod, and then Fern like scoots over next to Wim as a united front here, and Fern's like full on like scowling at Jod. I just love those two so much. You go from like Fern being mean to Wim in the gorge when they first met, right to this moment where they're like a united front, like standing together against Jod. It was just such a great scene. I love these kids so much. They're so great actors. They're so great at this at their roles here. So it was great. And while this is happening, this is when we get the beautiful, or maybe before this, we got the great Jod backstory. And it's not a lot. We don't even flash back. And I'm not upset about it at all. We get a quick outburst from Jod where he's like trying to like reason with them or explain to them his past.
Yeah. Basically, he was living just off the scraps. He was he had no home, and then he was found
presumably post Order 66, or was he?
I think so. Yeah, because his master for a time was also living pretty similarly, but she was able to teach him a little bit, but ultimately she ended up getting captured by the Empire presumably, and I believe he said they made him watch as she was executed.
Oof. And we don't know how he escaped, but eventually did. That reminds me, I have an image after this. All right, let's just show it now. About there's apparently a leaked scene. Not leaked.
Yeah, I shared this in chat a second ago.
Sweet.
I didn't realize this until just then.
Oh,
I was like,
my chat or
in the group chat.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. I got it here in my bookmarks. But yeah, it was an interesting scene here.
Yeah.
Come on. My computer's slow today. Here we go. Share screen. But yeah, I'm not upset that we didn't get to see this.
I'm
thought it was very fascinating. I mean, except for her. I mean, yeah, true. I don't want to say like tragic, but it was cool here. So, is it sharing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Jazz Mazari. And she explains how this was the shortest action job I have done, but the most meaningful to the child in me, playing a Jedi for one scene in Skeleton Crew. I gave a speech when the crew wrapped up on set. The first Arab female Jedi. Thank you. The scene unfortunately didn't make it to the final cut because these things happen. It's television. But I cannot not share my experience and feelings. Even Liam rehearsed that scene with me, and I got to brag about it with his friends, which got me the coolest mom respect for a moment. Don't know which one is Liam. One of the kids, maybe. But yeah, just really cool. So this was Jod's master.
Yeah, that's awesome. I saw a comment here.
I think I'll turn the dark side if she died too.
Me too. I see under this post, it looks like somebody was saying that on IMDb she's credited as Nina Nawood, which Jod takes the name Nawood as his official title.
Wow.
So if that's true,
that's heartbreaking. Wow.
It is. Man. And Evan, I would like a season 2 to explore some stuff.
Obviously, yeah. That'd be great. Let's see how fast Disney gives them a season 2. They canceled the act like it was a low viewership, right, guys? What happened?
Well, this one also had lower viewership, so.
Right? So stay with your mouth, Disney.
this shouldn't be the mark, but it's just bullshit. Everything should get more seasons.
That's TV for you. I mean that's streaming for you, where everything.
At least two. Like I know, like people get annoyed a lot with shows getting canceled, but like God, at least two.
Right. So yeah. Sorry. So, yeah. Speaking on that real quick, and just like I want this to get a season 2, but if it does, it's just gonna make me even more mad because people are like, "What's the difference between the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew?" People are like, "Well, Skeleton Crew is a good show, so that's why." I'm like, "Don't change the goalpost now. Don't change the goalpost now. I want a season 2 for Skeleton Crew. I need a season 2 for Acolyte, but you're saying it. Oh, it had low viewership and it wasn't good." Since when do studios care if a show is good or not?
I see Netflix.
Right. It's like if a show is popular, it gets renewed. That's just what happens. And for this to have lower viewership and then get renewed, what are we doing here?
Andor not have low viewership.
Andor had the lowest up until before Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. Andor had the lowest, and it got renewed. And it was the most expensive, and got renewed.
And so they don't care about reception. They care about the fucking numbers.
Exactly. So it's like, what are we doing here? But Andor, I guess you could argue, it had that had the deal with Tony Gilroy where they announced season 2 before season 1 even aired, which was lucky for them. But yeah, it's just like Acolyte was planned for multiple seasons. We're having 3 books come out this year, 2025. The Wayseeker book, the book with the 2 Padawans.
Yord and Jecki.
Thank you, Yord and Jecki, and then the Acolyte visual dictionary and art book. I think there's 4 Acolyte books coming out this year. The visual.
Where's my gallery, Evan? If a gallery drops for Skeleton Crew,
I'm raising the ground. I'm raising.
I'll join. I will join you.
I'm going to LA.
I'm San Francisco, I think.
San Francisco. I don't know where the fuck they are.
Where the fuck that Yoda fountain is?
I'm in LA. It's like, where are they? Just lost. But yeah, and again, I would want a Skeleton Crew season 2. I would want a Skeleton Crew BTS, but it's like, give me Acolyte, all that for the Acolyte too. It's like, don't just give me that for Skeleton Crew just because it's a quote unquote better show. That's all fucking subjective. What's subjective is viewership. So that's why I'll be pissed if this gets I'll be happy because it's season 2, but I'll also be like, then there's no excuse. And granted, yes, Skeleton Crew cost probably considerably less than the Acolyte, so it would probably be easier to renew. But still, it's like, then I'll use the Andor excuse. Andor costs $200 million plus, and this next season costs even more. And people are all like, "Well, I don't care about viewership. Art shouldn't be judged by viewership." And you're right. But when we want more of the art, then we have to care about viewership. Just like for box office, people are like, "Well, I don't care about the box office." That's cool. You don't have to care about the box office. But if you want a sequel to your movie, if you want to see more from that director, you should care about the box office, because if the movie bombs, you won't see the director for the next 5 years. Yeah. That's the unfortunate reality of Hollywood. So yeah, that's
resources to save the Acolyte in the description.
Yes. Again, I say this every episode. You bet your ass I'm going to Japan in March or April, and I'll be at every panel acting a fool talking about the Acolyte. I don't care if you have to kick my ass out, because I've been talking about the Acolyte season 2 and it needing to be renewed. I don't care who the fuck I got to talk to.
Go to every meet and greet, every photo op. I don't care if you have 20 seconds of that photo op. You gotta ask right? Manny what happened.
Right. Manny got us a lot of like not a lot, but like when he had his meet and greet during like Dragon Con or some kind of con last year, he was talking about like, I don't want to say much because in case it might get renewed, and just the notion of like it might get renewed got people like screaming like there's a chance. So it's like, I don't know what we have to do. I just need it. I wake up and I was like, wait, I live in a reality where Acolyte never got renewed, and it just bums me out. It bums me out.
I got that Jeopardy question tonight, and I was like, But
okay.
Why the fuck would you show it to me if I can't have it?
Right.
Yeah, Plagueis again. Like we say this every time, but you teed up Plagueis. At the very least, I would get some people to be like, "Well, shit, I gotta know."
Right?
what they do.
Right?
Yoda's in there. Well, sure, there's a Yoda scene. I gotta check out the Yoda scene.
But I want to talk about going back to this whole Jod thing. I want to compare and contrast real quick. I saw this online, and I thought it would be an interesting talking point where Jod saw his parent, guardian, Jedi Master die in front of him. And another famous character that we love post Order 66 was Cal Kestis. Also saw
Is this
his
Calcus?
yeah, just Cal Kestis. He also saw his Jedi Master die right in front of him. But while Cal loses hope for a while, he eventually continues to be the hero that we know and love throughout Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order. Jod takes a different path. And I think that just goes to the beauty of Star Wars and the beauty of like arcs in general. It's all about the setting. I think Jod comments how his Jedi Master was as ragged as he was. So you can assume he probably had like this pirate life. Not pirate, but just like this loose life. Enough so that Jod isn't fully like continuing the Jedi arts or continuing this like wisdom kind of manner, even to the kids or to himself, really. He goes full pirate and he loses all hope in that sense. While Cal, because he was born throughout the Order and because his master was so like locked into the Jedi arts and the Jedi teachings. It happened quickly after Order 66. I think that allowed Cal to like really follow in his master's footsteps. And even Cal had a hard time of it. He thought he failed his master. One of my favorite moments of Jedi Fallen Order is towards the end of the game, where you're in like that I forget what planet, but he starts having like nightmares or visions of his master, and he's like kind of like fight those visions, get past that, and really overcome that like mental block that's in Cal's head. So I just like that. Like, where a lot of Order 66 survivors, it's not easy to just like continue being a Jedi after watching your whole dogmatic order just perish. And it makes a lot of sense for Jod to go this way of the pirate, of a lack of order, a lack of like justice or whatever. Basically going against what the Jedi stand for. While Cal continues to fight for what the Jedi stand for amidst a lot more struggles too. So it's just interesting. Not every Order 66 survivor ever has the same story. So it's just really cool to see here Jod's unique story about being a pirate.
Absolutely.
Which is just really cool. If people are fans or more of like Jedi pirate combinations, the High Republic had a great run. It was in Phase 2, Maz Kanata. It was under the High Republic Adventures. So look up High Republic Adventures Phase 2. It's like 12 issues. It's about Maz Kanata and what she was up to 150 years before the High Republic. So yeah, it's the High Republic 150 years before that. And she was, a pirate during that time. She had the Force. She wasn't a Jedi, but like she meets some Jedi friends who are also pirates. In that same line, one of the pirate crew is Dexter Jester.
What?
Yeah, he's in the crew. It's really
fun.
cool. It's really great.
Is he Long John Silver of the Star Wars universe?
Yeah, he's seen so much.
Man's a cook.
But yeah, and he does cook a lot in the issues. It's a really fun, sweet issue or series, and of course, there's more lore behind like Takodana and all that kind of stuff. So really cool stuff in the High Republic. But so yeah, again, Farah has to deal with her fears about opening up the galaxy, but eventually she does pull the lever. I thought it was a great moment for Farah because again, great in the short term. The New Republic is here. They're able to come in through the efforts of Kim, Fern, Farah, Wim, everybody. The New Republic comes in. But that's the short term. And the danger in the long term is like maybe if they get a season 2, they can discuss the possibilities of danger in the long term. It's like now you open to the galaxy. Now you're as open as any other planet. And what's stopping other pirates from coming in or other random dangers from coming in? So things that are unpredictable.
And it's just like one side of the planet. There are multiple entry points that you could have new settlers pop in, and so people encroaching on lands, different ideologies, war.
Yeah, we could get play about like what happened in episode 4 with that Civil War planet. We could get a similar thing happen here. There's a lot of coin on this planet, a lot of like, gold and shit like that. It's just like, what if people come to realize like that's a lot of gold? And people on the planet also have like different thoughts on how to use that or handle that. So that could be a thing. But so that was all cool. When the New Republic coming in, just what another cool entry sequence. The B-wings coming in, the lasers.
I don't know. Have we ever seen that in live action?
I don't.
Have we seen that ever?
I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
I didn't know they did that. First they came in, I was like, X-wings. Yeah, I'm a little desensitized to X-wings now.
Yeah,
I like them, but I'm like, yeah, X-wings, and then the B-wings. I'm like, oh shit, that's cool. And then they did the laser. I'm like, what the fuck? We could have done this whole time.
Just literally just tore the ship to shreds. It was glorious to see. It was really cool.
Very cool. Also, the deactivation of the barrier, visually stunning.
Oh, so stunning. You're right. Like seeing the atmosphere not crumble, but just like dissipate slowly. Everybody's able to finally see the stars. Wim looking up, or Neil looking up at the stars was just a cool shot. Because they're not used to the other galaxy, the galaxy in general. So seeing so many other blinking stars was really cool to see.
Absolutely.
But then we get my favorite shot of the episode here. Jod walking down, seeing his ship crumbling down was so great. So cool. Oh, I did miss the whole when the room goes from dark to light, by the way. I like that.
Oh, it was so bright.
That was so bright. I was like, but it was such a cool, visually well done there as well. But yeah, Jod walking down, watching the ship go down in flames. What a gorgeous shot. And it's just symbolic of like a lot of things here. And it's very subtextual because he doesn't say anything here. It's all on Jude Law's expression.
Interesting that, when everybody's getting in the elevator, Wim does call out for Jod.
Yeah.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
He's a very nice, kind-hearted person. Like I said, Jod ended up not harming them in the slightest. They all get back home with their families, and Wim sees a person in need and at least offers some help. It was really good, a sweet scene for Wim. Jod watching, and this is so cool because like his hopes and dreams, his goal from episode 1, he's like, I'm tired of living meal to meal, piece from piece, mission to mission. We got all the gold that we need on this planet. He finally gets it last week, and we talked about how like crazed and jubilant he was when he's just drowning in gold credits. It was like, oh my gosh, this is what he's been waiting for. He finally got it, and less than a day later, it's crumbling down before his various eyes. The New Republic is here. He should be upset, but he ends the show with a smirk and a smile on his face, and I'm like, that's really cool. That was a really
the next adventure,
right? I think that's where I went to. It's like, well, he's optimistic that he's going to get away, first of all. But also, like you said, I think he might be on to the next adventure or possible, like, glass very, very much, half full here. Optimistic interpretation. Maybe he does say like, okay, wait, maybe there is something in terms of like connections. Because it was a connection that the kids had made that really was his undoing. Maybe there is something in like having more heartwarming, having a more heartfelt connection, and not having to sever the relationships like I previously told Whip.
I keep turning on people and I keep losing.
Right? So maybe he's smiling like, wait, maybe that kid Wim was right. Maybe he was right. That's a very optimistic interpretation for somebody who did a lot of bad things. But, it was very, I just love the subtext of that. You can interpret that so many ways for a person, for a pirate like Jod. And that was the end we see of Jod. Maybe he'll run to safety. Maybe we'll get arrested. Whatever, really know. But I thought Jod consistently was a fantastic character. I'm really going to miss him. The kids hug when seeing KB. They're all fearful of her. They think she crashed when she came back down to the planet.
It was a very funny shot. I mean, it was a cool shot when like the gold spits out of the the gangplank. But then when she
She
just
just
I thought she was alive, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, get that gold."
she
As
slides
all
down, just hits her head. Boom! I was like, "Oh shit!" No, she's fine.
lands on her neck like mantis.
Oh, God. But she's fine. They all hug. I'm like, I love these kids. I love these kids so much. Oh, I love a good group hug.
So good, and this brings me to one of my favorite shots
Ooh.
of Star Wars. I love when Star Wars does this, which is Wim sees the X-wings going about, and then a Rebel blockade runner comes in, and he's just like staring at it in awe. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, this kid's joined the Resistance.
Yeah.
Number one, and number two, very cool visual that Wim is being swept up by seeing the very first ship model that anybody ever saw in Star Wars in '77.
Yeah, a
Cool
true
stuff.
fan. A true fan.
Not the Disney.
Yeah, oh gosh. And I like the moment even more to elevate that when Fern was like, "Hey, you don't got to take the assessment anymore." When Wim has been so brought down by this, the possibility of having to take this assessment. When asked in episode 1, it's like, "What do you want to be by Neo?" He's like, "I don't want to be a Jedi. I don't know." Now he does know. He wants to be a hero. He wants to join the Resistance, the Republic. He wants to help people in need. So when Fern asks him, like, "You don't got to take the assessment," he smiles. It's like, "I don't got to take the assessment anymore." He knows what he wants to do now, which was a great final shot. What?
I'd be so elated.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, it was great. It was great, and that's all I had for my notes. I wrote down like there's questions about Ad's history, nothing being answered about what happened in the past or the backstory of the supervisor. We talked about that already. Doesn't matter. Again, ending the show with the kids and what they went through, that's the most important.
Absolutely. And then I have to ask you, as I ask you so often, to a various success, did you catch the post-credit scene?
There is none. Shut the F up.
There's
no post-credit scene.
Something.
There's nothing.
Did you watch the credits?
Yeah, when they recommended me to watch Andor, that.
Yes, but after or before that, I guess they had the title Skeleton Crew, and it panned out a little bit.
Okay.
It was like the little reader, like Wim's storybook reader.
Oh, yeah. We went through all of like the storybook stuff.
Yeah, and then like it had the title Skeleton Crew, and then it panned out to live action, and it was like Wim's storybook reader with reading Skeleton Crew, and it like turned off. It's like this book's done.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't really take that in.
You never believe me.
Nathan's trustworthiness is at an all-time low.
Look who's talking. You originated this.
What are you talking about? I'm like, I never lie to you guys. I never lie to the audience, Nathan.
He said lyingly.
But yeah, before we wrap up this episode here, overall, again, I just really liked Skeleton Crew. Fantastic show. Great show. Love a season 2.
Makes
if that
me
happens, should get an Andor for Accolade season 2. But yeah,
makes me want to watch Goonies again, which is coming back to theaters this weekend.
Yeah, did we do the? No, we did. What commentary did we watch?
Goonies.
It was Goonies. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Evan, I didn't. Were you aware that 7 was in theaters last week?
I saw it.
Oh, yes. You went. Okay.
Yeah, I was aware. I was like, this is going to be my first IMAX or my first theatrical experience of 2025. So yeah, I saw it January 6th or something like that.
I don't know why, but and I love the movie, but Interstellar is back again at my theater.
Wow.
And on one hand, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, let's go into IMAX, but also it's taken away from the daytime IMAX for Wolfman. And I'm like, why?
Oh, damn.
so Wolfman has like the evening screenings, but I'm like, what the hell?
Damn. But yeah, I saw 7 in IMAX. I can't recommend it enough. If it's still in your theaters, I thought I know it was playing that first week in January. I don't know if it's still in certain theaters, but it was glorious in IMAX. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, top 5 for sure. I always go back between 7 and Arrival for favorite movies.
Several.
Several.
Of Evan.
Sly Ronnie.
Of all the references you make, that's the one where I'm like, what the hell?
It just comes to my mind all the time. So certain rumors that we haven't talked about for the past couple of weeks now. Let's see here. I guess the most important, interesting ones. Ahsoka season 2 rumors. Ahsoka season 2 is filming this year. It's the one show that we know is coming in 2026. Besides that, the future of Star Wars TV is looking very, very slim. We don't know if there's a Mando show after the Mando and Grogu in 2026. And we don't know if there's going to be an Ahsoka season 3. As far as we know, Ahsoka season 2 in 2026 is the last Star Wars Disney Plus series that's been officially announced. There has been a rumor by Daniel RPK. You know, he's half right, half wrong a lot of the time. But he did say that Lucasfilm is developing 2 new animated Star Wars shows. That's a rumor. But for me, I'm like, that makes sense. I mean, we talked about it after the Bad Batch wrapped up. Everybody go watch the Bad Batch. But we're like, there's no animated Star Wars shows. We knew Vision season 3 is going to be a thing. Vision's always going to be a thing, or should always be a thing. Yeah. But in terms of like long-term, season-long stories for Star Wars animated shows, nothing has been announced. And I think Star Wars Celebration is the perfect time to announce that. So wouldn't be surprised if Star Wars Celebration they announce 1 or 2 new animated shows.
It's another Tales.
I would raise the ground. No.
I think there's a shot that at least one of them is.
Probably. But if it says 2 new ones, I think Tales is just like a new season of an already existing one. Sure. I'm hoping it's just like, everybody automatically goes to like Luke Skywalker, Ben Solo animated show. That's like the big one. And I would want it too. Of course, I would go like High Republic, Old Republic. No, I'm always so wary of like High Republic shows. I'm like, do they dive into High Republic lore at all before James Mangold's movie?
I mean, that's way farther back.
It is true, but it's still just in the past in general. So I'm not sure.
So was the Acolyte?
True.
What if they continue the Acolyte in animation?
I would scream from the high heavens. I think that would be great. I would love that. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind that at all. Would it be as
sexy? Would they let them be as sexy? Yes. They wouldn't.
What do you think? What do you think? You think they wouldn't?
In animation, I probably not.
That's a great question. Actually, would you get any we've seen a lot of kisses in animation.
Sure,
that's all I need. That's all I need. No, it is. I want them to fuck, obviously, but it's like, but yeah,
would we get more nude baths?
Like, even what was the most like risque live action show that we've had for Star Wars? Was it Andor when like he's like making out with somebody or in the shower naked? I guess like,
there was implied.
Was implied post sex stuff.
Yeah.
You can do that in animation. You can see like, somebody get out of the bed with their shirt on, right? Like wearing shorts. Like you could probably do that.
TV-14 it.
TV-14. I don't know, but like just do a lot of kissing and that'd be fine. You can do that in animation. Even though it took 4 seasons for Hera and Kanan to kiss, which was egregious.
Weren't they doing stuff in the book before season 1?
Right? It's like, Filoni, feed us.
See, this is why I don't think they. This is why I think the networks are going to block us.
But either way, I wouldn't. I was so glad that they gave us anything in Acolyte season 1 in terms of enemies to lovers. So I wouldn't mind animated at all. Animated. I would take books. I'm a huge book person. I would take books, but I want to hear Amandla. I want to hear Manny. I want to hear Jackie. Like I want to hear my characters again in a visual format. But I would take a book. I would definitely take a book.
An audio cast recording story.
That would be great too.
And I'll animate myself.
But like, I just want to. I want to see these characters again in some form, book and not comic. Comic is too short form for me. I need to be like a big novel. Which is weird. Like, I don't know why it's so hard to not be able to do that. Just give us a book series, a continuation book series. Like, that would sell along the same line as other High Republic books. I'm like, can that happen? So I would go if I make it to a High Republic book panel. That's a question I am 100% asking.
Maybe the Acolyte books will gauge the interest.
Great point. Yeah, which is why I always say I keep mentioning those books every podcast. I'm like, I need people to buy those. I need Lucasfilm to recognize like there is interest out there. But okay, that was a rumor. But Ahsoka wise, there might have been some recasting. We definitely knew that Ray Stevenson unfortunately passed away in 2023. He was going to be recast. We just didn't know who. We finally got a rumor from Jeff Snyder, which has been corroborated by other rumor sites about Rory McCann. And I will share this screen as well here from Game of Thrones fame. So he is the leading rumor for who was replacing Ray Stevenson as Balin Skoll in Ahsoka Season 2. Of course, right here, he's playing the Hound in Game of Thrones, one of the more famous Game of Thrones characters. So, yeah, he does not look like this normally because he's like scarred.
Because everybody keeps using this image, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, this one looks very different from like in real. I mean, in real life, it looks pretty similar, but
yeah, but even then, like
I've never actually seen it.
I looked up his like base level face, and I was like, okay, that makes more. Why don't people just share the? I know they want to get the Game of Thrones click, but what?
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I'll be fine with this casting. Like you said, in real life, he looks much closer to this, to Ray Stevenson. But yeah, again, it's unfortunate. You know, Ray Stevenson was a bright star in Ahsoka Season 1. Yeah, I want to share this one as well. Oh, you can't. Let me share this tab instead. So Star Wars Newsnet corroborated a lot of rumors about Ahsoka Season 2 and additional stuff here. Actually, I won't share the screen. It doesn't matter. I'll just talk about it. So Star Wars Newsnet was talking about returning characters for Ahsoka Season 2 and for Mando and Grogu. So first of all, for Mando and Grogu, they talked about the returning of Rada the Hutt. We already knew that. But for antagonists, there seemed to be Embo the bounty hunter. This was mentioned by Christian Harloff, and then corroborated again by other rumor people. So it wasn't just Christian. It was some other rumors as well, corroborating that Embo the bounty hunter, who was a personal favorite of Dave Filoni, is returning from animation to live action, just like Rada from the Clone Wars to Mando and Grogu, which is a very weird jump. But we've seen Cad Bane go to Book of Boba Fett, so not the craziest jump. Embo is the bounty hunter with the hat on his head. I wonder if I can find an image of him. I don't know.
I mean, we just saw one for a second when you were share screening.
Oh, wow.
Whoops. It was right above your bookmarks, I think.
Let me go back to it then. Because, yeah, I was like, oh, I mean, this bounty hunter never really, like, moved the needle for me. He was very cool, but it was, like, one of those cool bounty hunters who literally doesn't say a word, I don't think. Oh, yeah, I'm an idiot. It's right there.
Does he have the vibe of, like, a Clint Eastwood's Western character? Like, does he wear, like, a poncho and the big hat?
I think.
Am I wrong?
I mean... so they say he appears in 8 episodes of the Clone Wars. I've rewatched the Clone Wars like 3 to 4 times in its entirety. He's fine. He's cool. He's like in like the season 5 of the Clone Wars, like towards the end of the Clone Wars, the Netflix series. He's definitely in like that season 5 Netflix season. I think like 3 episodes there, and then he's like scattered. He's scattered throughout the OG run of the Clone Wars. So yeah, Embo is the guy on the left of Ewan there.
I did I did have a initial response when I was reading the news. I was like, "Who? Oh,
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, like,
right on."
he'll be a antagonist. There's no way. There's no way in hell he's the antagonist because he doesn't say
Right.
anything. He's just a bounty hunter. He'll be. I assume he'll be somebody that's chasing Mando and
We say
Grogu.
we say this, Evan, but we got 3 seasons of Gideon doing nothing.
Great point. But I assume I read this and I'm like, oh, so he'll be the person that like you're inciting fun incident. Beginning of Mando and Grogu are running in the forest, for example, and they're getting chased by Embo. They beat him up and they escape to safety, and that's your inciting incident in the movie or something. Like just to show what Mando and Grogu are getting up to during the time of this time, whatever.
Yeah.
I think it could just be a one-off character, and the real threat again is just going to be some Imperial with a mustache. I don't know.
He learned.
But the bigger news is from Ahsoka season 2. And as it says here, we knew that Hayden Christensen is coming back.
He's there as the ghost.
Exactly. There's a ghost. So again, this is also from Christian Harloff. But again, Star Wars Newsnet said they've also heard similar stuff. So again, grain of salt, everybody. Grain of salt, as always, for these news or for these rumors. But Hayden Christensen will feature in Ahsoka season 2 in an even more prominent role. There will also apparently be more flashbacks to the Clone Wars, as both Ariana Greenblatt and Ewan McGregor are reprising their respective roles as young Ahsoka and Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Clone Wars. What do you think about this rumor, Nathan?
I didn't even hear about this. So, hey, that's cool. I like it. I like how they looked in their armors. It is like a visual I've wanted to see of them for quite some time. Something I thought they were going to do in the Obi-Wan series anyhow. So then what happened in Ahsoka, and I was like, okay, right on. Dope.
Yeah.
Fun little thing that I think they used them very well for like the full journey of Ahsoka's self-reflection and, you know, the overall arc there. I thought that was all very well told and probably like some of the best episodes they had to offer in that season.
I agree. I still one of my main criticisms for Ahsoka was that her arc is so. It was interesting because we tried to parse it together in terms of like what is her arc, and I think one of the main things that Filoni was trying to say in regards to the Clone Wars was about like the whole child soldier, traumatic. Is she ready to be in a master to Sabine? That was the thing they're trying to convey. I still don't think Ahsoka season 1 actually convincingly conveyed that, but those episodes were still kind of. I wouldn't say they're visually interesting things. I still think it's like that smoky room still didn't like move.
Limited.
Yeah, but I think again,
I'd pass it off as like a dream sequence.
Yeah, but the messaging of that sequence was still solid enough. And it'll be interesting to go back there because we kind of moved past that in my imagination. It's like Ahsoka learned during that whole Mortis World Between Worlds thing against Anakin. Like she moved past that. She's learned to embrace the dangers, the evils of her past. Not evil, but just like the trauma of her past. She's comfortable being a master to Sabine. She's moving on from being like a person who's predicated upon pain and death and like loneliness. And she moved on from Ahsoka the Grey to Ahsoka the White, as Filoni was trying to show us, becoming more comfortable with her past, embracing it, moving forward. And that's when she was able to have like an actual conversation with Sabine, however limited it unfortunately was in the finale. Because they had to fill time up with zombies, right? But either way, I'm curious. I don't, I love you, Filoni, but I don't like. I'm not the most confident that he'll go back to these Clone Wars flashbacks in a super meaningful way. I'm iffy on it.
Just thinking off the top of my head, do you think having Hayden and Ewan and Ariana together. And with the coming convict, do you think it's going to be in reference to the Mortis arc from Clone Wars that those flashbacks will be in the context?
For sure. Those were the 3 people that got stuck on Mortis in the first place. Season 2 ends with like the Mortis gods and Balin going to some evil, or maybe he doesn't think it's evil. We think it's evil. But like some voice in his head, something that's compelling him to go to those Mortis statues.
Yeah, it should be interesting because they lost their memory of those events, right? When they left,
they did. Yeah. Because Ahsoka, you died, and she doesn't. I don't think she remembers that.
I mean, that's why Morai follows her around, right? That's Morai's in the show, so
part of Morai's life energy is in Ahsoka. Because people forget, you know, Ahsoka died, but so did the sister as well. And I think like the sister's life force went into Ahsoka a little bit. And then it was crazy. Go rewatch the Mortis arc. Did we ever do that on stream when we watched certain episodes of the Clone Wars? Or
we were just doing
Ventress ones.
Just
right?
Ventress stuff, yeah.
Yeah, we should do more of this. So I'm excited to see Ewan back as always. Ewan's the GOAT. That's something they could announce at Celebration, right? Like, and joining us for Ahsoka season 2, because you know what, when they have that panel, right, guys, they have like the mystery chairs. You're like, who's sitting in the chairs? Right. And of course, you see Ewan walk out. You're like, oh, Ewan's coming back with us. It's an easy, like, foaming at the mouth cheer.
And then you go to other panels, like, who's in the mystery chair? It's Doug Chang. Hey, I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad. It's a slow clap. Like, oh, cool, Doug. I mean, we all love Doug.
Fair. It's my fault.
Love you, Doug.
John Powell. Let's go.
That's about it.
I'm thinking of John Knoll. John Powell did Rogue One.
I know Tibet, yeah. So John Knoll will talk about Rogue One for the 1000th time.
Isn't that cool though?
It's cool. I've heard it. I heard the same.
The inventor of Photoshop made a movie.
But yeah, it is really cool. That's about it.
I did have a
cool
pause it. There was like previous rumor, wasn't there, about potentially Skeleton Crew characters popping up in Filoni's film?
Yeah, I didn't write that down, but yeah, it's a rumor.
I mean, I initially heard that and I was like, yeah, cool. Jude Law Jedi teaming up with the other Jedi. And now I'm like, well.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the case.
That said, I would love to have a scene where Wim actually gets to meet great Jedis like Ezra and Ahsoka.
That'd be really cool. It's interesting because I didn't put this in the show notes, but like the Advent finale, John Watts, one of the creators and children of the show, he did mention if they do a season 2, it would have to be a time skip because they filmed this show like 2 years ago. The kids are already like older if you watch interviews. They'll be even older by the time season 2 could come out. So there would be like an in-universe time skip. I wonder how that'll factor in as well.
Such a funny thought of like them coming together and just like, hey, Neil. Hey, Wim. Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? My voice dropped.
We're in a fucking trunk.
That's funny as hell. I can't wait for Percy Jackson season 2 because Walker has gotten so tall. He's probably taller than me.
I mean, it's my favorite thing when like the puberty, because I would say it's when like I start Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah,
because like Harry was such a light voice in the previous film, and then he's like, "I can't let you out, Hedwig." It's like, oh, that voice dropped.
Yeah, like what's going on here? But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the kids show up for a little bit in Filoni's film. But everybody's gonna be in Filoni's film. Filoni's film is kind of like the Secret Wars or the Doomsday of the Star Wars universe. It's like who's not going to be in that movie? We'll have to wait and see. But that movie is very much like hardly getting talked about because Mando and Grogu is so similar. And it's coming out next year, so we'll have to wait and see. That's about it, though. That's about all I had. Okay. You guys can find me on Twitter at HarrisEV9. I would recommend you guys this weekend to start watching Castlevania and Castlevania Nocturne. It came out yesterday. It's number 7 on Netflix Top 10. I need that number to go up because season 3, unfortunately, has not been renewed. Unlike season 1, when season 1 came out, we knew we were getting a season 2. Netflix, for some dumb reason, did not tell their showrunners, like, they didn't give them any promises this season.
Yeah.
unfortunately means they have to rely on the whole Netflix top 10 for the first 2 or 3 weeks of release, which is always a scary time for a lot of people who've had experience making Netflix shows or streaming shows in general. Those first couple of weeks are nail biters. As an Acolyte person, it's like watching every Friday, watching the numbers not crack the top 10. I'm like, this is not good. So I'm really hoping that Castlevania can come out. I heard great things already. So I can't wait to watch it tonight. So yeah, watching Castlevania, watching some anime, and yeah, reading some books. I have a 3-day weekend, which I'm looking forward to. So thank you, Martin Luther King on Monday. Everybody go watch that movie was floating around Twitter today. Martin, my friend Martin.
Yeah, let's go.
Every kid watched when they were kids.
Is it a genuinely good movie, or is it just kind of like?
It's a solid movie. It's very blatant. It's very like in your face because it's for kids, obviously. But
don't be racist.
Yeah, don't be racist. Don't be
fair enough.
Fair enough.
That's what I know him for. But I also can't change the time stream.
Oh man, so
it is a time travel movie, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
And hey, speaking of time travel movies, you find me _Time Blazer making a show called Time Blazer, co-starring Craig Castle and Evan Harris.
Playing Ben, who's time traveling, right?
I get there. I may need to I think I need to have a sit down with you for like creative consulting and just like, all right, where are we going?
Awesome, I would love that. Hit me up, man.
Because I also just finished doing a mock-up of the Emperor character's throne room, designing the throne. That was been fun. I like it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm free this weekend. So yeah, ready.
That being said, if you guys enjoyed this, make sure you like, button, subscribe, and ring the bell. So you miss all future things Star Wars. That being said, hope you have a great day, and may the Force be with you always.
Always.